Before we begin, make sure to like, share, support the channel by shopping through the links, and subscribe, because today you'll discover secrets that almost no one knows about the machine that changed the planet, the computer. It all started during World War II, when governments needed to calculate codes, routes, and complex operations in just a few seconds. In 1946, the ENIAC was born, the first giant electronic computer in history. It weighed 30 tons, occupied an entire room, and operated with over 18,000 valves, which heated up so much that sometimes the system would stop because the building became too hot. Fun fact: programming the ENIAC required manually connecting cables, like a giant telephone exchange. With the end of the war, new ideas emerged. What if we made smaller, faster machines that anyone could use? This paved the way for the transistor, created in 1947. The transistor replaced the valves, which burned out easily, and allowed for a reduction in size, cost, and energy consumption. Thus, the heart of modern computing was born. Then came the moment that changed everything: the integrated circuit, created in the 1950s and 60s. Multiple transistors began to fit inside a single tiny chip. From this point on, computers started to shrink significantly. Hey, I'll share, subscribe, I'll leave a like, support my work by purchasing through my link below. But before we talk about modern PCs, there's a detail that almost no one mentions. Computers were not created for people. They were military, scientific, and banking machines. Only huge companies had access. Until in 1976, two young men, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, built a computer in the Jobs family garage. The Apple I was born, and soon after, the Apple II, the first truly functional home computer. At the same time, Bill Gates was creating MS-DOS and later Windows, which brought computers to the entire world. And here comes a surprising fact: the computer dethroned the typewriter not only for its speed, but for the possibility of making mistakes. Yes, previously, an error in a sentence could ruin an entire page. The computer allowed for deleting, copying, pasting, reorganizing, and printing again. It was revolutionary. Entire companies abandoned the typewriter in just a few years. In the 80s, the IBM PC was born, which became a reference and opened the doors for any brand to produce compatible computers. The computer became a tool for study, work, research, music, accounting, and even leisure. It was no longer just a machine, it was a new way of thinking. And then another revolution began: the notebook. At first, they were heavy, expensive, and had short battery life. But they quickly became thinner, foldable, lightweight, and powerful. The real turning point came with the advent of Wi-Fi, which freed computers from wires and transformed the world into a workspace. And just when everyone thought nothing would surprise them anymore, tablets arrived. Hey, I'll share, subscribe, I'll leave a like, support my work by purchasing through my link below. The idea of directly touching the screen seemed futuristic, but it had existed as a concept since the 60s. It just wasn't possible until efficient processors and high-precision touch screens emerged. The tablet combined the power of a computer with the simplicity of a mobile phone. Now, here's an incredible fact: a modern smartphone has thousands of times more processing power than the computers that took man to the moon in 1969. In other words, you have a supercomputer in your pocket that astronauts would have killed for. Today, everything is in microscopic chips. Moore's Law, which stated that processors would double in capacity every 2 years, has dominated technology and brought us to this point: ultra-thin, silent, fast computers capable of creating videos, films, music, calculations, and even artificial intelligence. The computer revolutionized everything: communication, medicine, transportation, art, finance, science, education, and even the way we think about the world. And to think it all started with a giant, hot, noisy machine that only knew how to do calculations. Now, like, share, subscribe, and support my work using the channel links. It makes all the difference in allowing me to continue bringing you stories like this.